What's poppin'? It's another edition of the Smokebox. I'm Dr. Green Thumb, aka Be Real, with my very special guest, one of my longtime homies, legendary hip hop DJ of the legendary crew De La Soul, my man DJ Maseo. You know what I'm saying?
Peace. Salute.
We've been talking about getting you in the box for a long
For a
time.
minute, yes. I done watched most of the shows.
Well, we finally accomplished it.
Yes, I'm in the box.
It's in the fucking box.
Spocking up in the box.
And listen,
Fresh out the plane.
I want to start by saying this has been one of my homies in the hip hop culture for over 20 easily. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been like cool for a long fucking time.
I will say 90, bro.
Yeah.
90. Definitely since 90. My first interaction hanging out with the entire crew was when we toured up north.
Yeah.
East Coast, going like the Boston, Maine area. We was touring that area. And yeah, it was us, y'all, and Tim Dog.
And
remember?
Tim Dog,
Tim
yeah.
Dog.
Yes, I remember that. Those were crazy times. I mean, hip hop was so wide open right then. And what's crazy about it is everybody had to have a style and sound. Like definitively. There, it's not like today where motherfuckers could sort of sound like one another and get by.
Old dudes can actually bite, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be influenced
They
by
call
or
it,
by.
they call it paying homage. I
Yeah,
guess.
paying homage.
Yeah, I guess.
But back in that time, you had to be distinct. And I gotta say, as a fan of y'all, coming up right behind you guys, in terms of when Cypress Hill dropped, I mean, we were listening to y'all heavy because you guys did such a different style of hip hop than anyone else at the time. I mean, it was like fucking, just different pockets of rhyming, different style of beats, different concepts of shit that it wasn't necessarily street thuggish shit, but it was fucking slapping.
Peace.
And man, I've been a fan from that time to now. So
Likewise, you already know.
You already know, bro. And it's we always keep it 1,000, man.
I mean, what's been really dope for me is meeting cats, and they are like their music.
Right.
It ain't fugazi, you
Yeah.
know. And I believe, I am like my music.
Oh,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? I live my shit, and you guys have lived your shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you made me come out the closet as a weed smoker.
All right.
When I used to get in trouble by Ma Dukes.
Yeah.
And then you guys came along. And I'm
made
like,
it
Ma,
okay.
this is all right, Ma. And my mom still was killing me at 20, like, you shouldn't be doing that. You're going to hell.
Damn, that was a threat.
Yeah, that was the threat. I was going to hell. I was going to hell.
I want to tell you
Church-going
something.
folks will tell you you're going to hell for smoking weed.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yes. If you grew up in one of them families where you're going to church every Sunday, that's one of the shit.
Yep.
One of the things.
You're going to hell for weed. But I used to be very defiant and say, God made this though.
Yeah. God, Amen. Amen. He made that shit for real.
God made this shit for real.
It even says it in the holy books, baby. You know what I'm saying? Come on, get out of here. Yeah, when you need a break from life.
Fast forward now. Look where it's at now.
Hey, listen, you know what's crazy about that, right? Is that y'all weren't really necessarily known for that so much, right? The weed shit. It was just dope music. Whereas, like a lot of motherfuckers felt like they had to go the weed route, and y'all never really did that. You did it once, but it was conceptual, and it was a dope concept.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, when I got the call to be on the song, I was like, oh, hell yeah. So as an artist, there's you always have a checklist with motherfuckers you want to get down with, right? And you guys were on my fucking, like, man, if I ever had a chance to get down with fucking De La, I mean, I know them now, right? Before you're a fan and you're like, cool, but as an artist and you get up there and we make bridges as we do with other artists, you're like, those are the homies. And I always thought in my head, man, it would be fucking dope to do a song with them. But finding the concept
the right song,
is
the
challenge,
right beat,
right?
yeah.
Because it can't just be anything. Because
Nah.
everything y'all ever did that was like a collaboration always made sense, and it looked like y'all was having fun, and it seemed fun when you heard it, right? So like, you know, it was one of those things when y'all hit me with the concept, and then it's a Dilla track, no less.
Yep.
I was like, oh, hell yeah. I said, I'm in.
Yeah, no doubt. I gotta give it up to Paz, really being the most conceptualizing one in the group, and really thought this through. He was like, Mace, it'd be dope that we do a song where it's you and Be Real trying to get me to smoke weed for the first time. I was like,
it wasn't a bad concept.
That was dope.
And listen, you know, the way they wrote it was so dope too, man. Like everybody flipped the parts. It was, and it's, to me, it's a classic.
It's a real collaboration.
Yeah,
is the word. You know, like
it is.
Throughout those years, people were doing features.
Yes.
You know, and calling them collaborations. We like actually got in the studio and we collaborated. We put our energy together.
Yes.
We focused on the concept. We focused on the body of work.
Yeah.
Is what still makes us who we are collectively and individually, because I think we come from a real artistic place, our era. You know what I'm saying?
I believe that
you
too,
know?
man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the type of work we put in the artistry back in those times. I mean, you know, like some people still do it now, but man, you know,
like what you, Chuck, and what's her name?
Prophets
of Rage shit. You know what I mean? Like that makes so much sense to me, especially you and Chuck, and knowing the history.
Right.
You know, of
And
the
that was
Psycho Beta sound and all of that.
That
you know
was
what I mean?
that was another checklist right there for me. I'm like, you know, because Chuck was one of the ones that was like, yo, that's. I mean, Public Enemy was rocking in our systems. I mean, I know it was rocking in yours too. We just sort of flipped the rhyme scheme from the baritone leading to the other, you know. But yeah, I mean, fuck.
Like you, the flavor that's rapping,
right?
And Zen is the Chuck that's the hype man,
doing the hype,
right?
You know, that was the crazy shit. So yeah, that, you know, it's a trip. I've gone down my checklist. I know you got a checklist. Who haven't you hit yet?
LL.
He's a hard one to crack. LL, man.
LL on a De La record, I think would be dope.
Smashing.
I think that would be dope now.
Yeah.
I don't know about back then. I think now, especially when we talking more about art, lyricism.
Yeah.
You know,
he's one of the dopest to ever do it.
Yeah, a De La LL Cool J record is what I would like to hear.
I think a lot of people would fuck with that, because then you could potentially take that on tour.
Yeah.
You could potentially take it. You already know. You already know. And I don't think LL would be mad at getting some fucking tour cake. You know what I'm saying?
You know, L was one of the first in that. You know, I always like to say L is the era before us.
Right, for sure.
You know, and he was the one that really embraced us. You know, he invited us out on that Nitro tour, and I'm forever thankful for that.
I think because he saw how different you guys were. And you know, like I'm saying, you guys had such a different style and the different pockets of rhyme schemes and the beats and the breaks and all that shit. And just even the visuals. You know what I'm saying? And I think he saw that. You know?
I'm thankful to that dude and his whole perspective and outlook on this culture, this genre. You know, I salute him every time. Like, you know, I learn a lot from him up close and from afar on how he handles himself in hip hop business.
Oh man.
And as an artist. You know?
Yeah, he can still get down.
Yeah,
like every now and then he pops out those new joints with Z Trip and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
you know, he gets on stage and he kills it like if it was radio back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
you guys still do a lot of road work.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd be doing it?
I think we got better in time.
I think so too. I mean, you know, I think that's the nature of the game, right? If you should, you know, be blessed with longevity like you guys have, and you guys stay active, which you guys have, because a lot of groups, you know, they might have the longevity, but they're not out there as much as they could be.
Right.
And I think, like you said, I think, you know, the more you're out there, the better you're going to get with time, because the repetitive nature of getting out in front of that crowd, you know exactly what the fuck to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And their anticipation, me now being aware of their anticipation of the next thing that I'm about to do is the most amazing feeling. It's like, yeah, I'm about to hit them with this shit, and I know exactly how it's going to smack them now. And that came behind the experience of just being out there. Like
being out there, yeah. It's like playing a sport. The more you train at that sport, the better you're gonna be at it. And it's the same shit with doing what we do, like with the writing and with the performance.
Right.
You know, because that takes endurance. It's not easy just to go out on a fucking 36-date tour like y'all might think. You know, it's you know, especially depending on the time you're playing, right?
Yeah.
Like hour and a half.
Especially if you play, if you're
night to night.
Especially if you're the headliner.
Yeah.
Because then you play in the last slot.
You got the responsibility of rocking.
Especially if there's 2 or 3 groups that killed it before you.
Yeah.
Now you got the pressures of holding up the energy.
That's interesting that you say that, because I mean, we've all been through it. Anybody who's headlined, what group or artist gave you the most pressure before y'all went on that you can remember?
Not because you're here.
Oh,
but Cypress Hill has, A Tribe Called Quest has, Red and Meth has.
Oh yeah.
And definitely KRS-One.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, like you freak out to know that you're playing after him. You know, you really freak out to know that you're playing after him. You know.
I don't mind playing second to last.
That's
the prime spot. That's the prime spot right there, if you ask me. But yeah, I mean,
and MOP.
Yeah, I mean, because all those groups you mentioned have dope ass live shows, and their energy is so fucking dope. But you know, you guys had that too because of the ability to rock. You guys have been around this long, man, and it's fucking attributed to the music you put out and the passion you guys got, man. And I'll tell you what, you guys pulled.
There's a time we sucked though, real bad,
hey,
dog.
listen,
we sucked real bad. Honestly, you guys out the gate was dope. You guys out the gate, because let me tell you, you know, Muggs was pretty seasoned. You know, we met Muggs early on rocking with 783.
With 783, yeah.
And he was also a part of Ice-T with Rhyme Syndicate and all of that.
Yeah,
I remember coming around when we just had our plug tuning.
Yeah.
And then we came with Potholes. We had no album, no nothing. And we were coming out here.
Those were 2 fucking hella joints to come out with, though.
And Muggs was that dude, man. You know, and he was already in DJ battles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So as a performer, he was already pretty seasoned out there and not shook by the audience and his peers and none of that. We got out there super nervous. Everything about us was private in the studio. I think I was nervous because they was nervous. Yeah. Because I rocked a lot of parties. But
just
when it came,
different style,
but when we came to doing the group and the performing live, it was pretty intimidating when you're around, Ice-T, Muggs, LL, you know, and I felt like when we saw you guys, Muggs, y'all had an advantage with Muggs.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
He's so
he had experience.
Yeah, he definitely had the experience, and then you clearly didn't give a fuck, B-Though.
I didn't know what I was doing.
You really didn't give a fuck though. You was like, I'm doing this. It was a lot of rappers to me that when I experienced LA, because I experienced LA in '88.
Yeah,
you know,
when it was starting to grow.
It was just starting to grow, but gang culture was way more prevalent.
It was deep.
Than hip hop was.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure.
So and being in the really coming up close with it when we used to hang out with Matt Robinson. Remember
Yeah,
Matt?
Matt, yeah.
Yeah.
Salute to Matt.
Salute, Matt. Word. We used to see the meat of the culture, so it was more gang culture before it was hip hop culture, and I knew there was an attitude of like, either we gonna make it or we gonna die out here, you know.
Yeah,
and you had this energy, like, you know, most cats from the West Coast that come up in gang culture remind me of almost all the cats in Brooklyn.
Right.
Just Brooklyn.
Do or die. Do or die.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
There's an energy between here and Brooklyn that's synonymous. Yeah, especially do or die, best die in fucking Brownsville, East New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's an energy that's like, we either gonna make it, we gonna take it, or we gonna die.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was very much like that. For sure.
And, you know, your rhymes, schemes, what you talked about, it was definitely to the core of, you know, what was happening. You know, we all felt it, and you was murdering it. Here it is. A lot of people even thought you was from the East Coast, but now when you listen close to the lyrics, though, you were like, nah. You know, I mean, we knew. We actually already knew because we were that invested in learning everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
Hey, let me ask you this, because I know that, like, you guys did something unprecedented in terms of crowdfunding an album.
Yeah.
And I thought it was genius because, like, you know, you said to your fans, hey, we want to produce a real hip hop album. You know, samples, layers, dynamics, and all that shit. It takes a whole lot. It takes major label resources to actually get that shit off, right? You know, in the climate or in the time that we were, you know, in the prime of making records for our prospective labels, right? Mm-hmm. You needed their resources, right? And when you get off a label like or a major label and you go independent, you don't necessarily have those resources.
No,
you know. And I thought it was genius how y'all did that, and you created that funding to where you could make a fucking real album, but you also created experiences.
Well, let me give props to Ed O.G. from Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs for being one of the inspirations for doing the Kickstarter. A lot of people don't know that he was one of the first to do it. You know, and he achieved his goal. You know, it wasn't the number we went for, but lo and behold, he achieved his goal.
It exceeded the number you guys were looking at.
And it actually, our number, we exceeded our number, you know.
Yeah.
I want to also thank Nelson George, who was another inspiration. Spike Lee, who was another inspiration, you know, of doing this crowdfunding. It was definitely a scary process.
I would imagine.
It was scary because it was like make it or break it. If it didn't happen, it could have been one of the things that really put a damper on the legacy.
Puts a dent in the armor. Yeah.
Put a big dent. And especially when we didn't have a record out in like 12 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of projects here and there, but an actual album.
Yeah. Full blown.
Yeah. So the approach was scary, you know. It took, you know, some serious planning, bringing some people involved on the team and truly operating like a label, but with the independent mindset, with the skill set that we all, learned and kind of longed to, for me, I gotta say I'm kind of glad we was able to get to this point in our career. You know, to be able to be in control like that. But it was a lot of work that went in it and a lot of fear.
Fuck yeah.
A lot of fear.
But y'all rode the line and it was a success, man. I mean, motherfuckers was talking about that shit and it was inspirational because it showed that people still want to hear that fucking music, you know, that they would support y'all like that. They want to hear that style of music, you know, because that art, it's like, that's an art form within the art form, you know, using samples and shit. A lot of hip hop right now is, you know, like electronic well, it's electronic either way, but now the shit is more, by keyboards. Well, no, it's digital too.
Yeah,
But it's mostly keyboard driven, almost like making R&B as opposed to like the way hip hop was made through samplers and shit like
right.
this.
No one's sampling. No one's really sampling anymore. And
Yeah.
what it was for us, really what we did, we actually hired a bunch of musicians and then we sampled from that.
Oh, that's dope.
That's exactly what we did, because here it is. That was pretty much the essence of what we was trying to catch when we were sampling from records themselves.
Right.
So due to the fact of having the sampling issues that we've had in the past
Yeah.
with Tommy Boy
yeah.
Which is a whole nother thing, that led to creating a record this way. Like, okay, we pretty much said we'll sample from ourselves kind of deal, which was hire a bunch of musicians, had it like over, I don't know, 30 hours of music or more, them just jam sessions, and then plucking from that and sampling and chopping from that. You know
That's
what I mean?
dope.
No different than we would do if it was
It's just,
you know what I
like
mean?
you're not digging in the crates, you're digging in the vibe.
Boom.
Boom. That's
Pretty much.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And then maybe a couple of things here and there because you just can't get away from it. If it's like a cut, James Brown cut,
it might
or some
sprinkle
shit like
some
that.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but due to the sample issues we had in the past and still wanting to make music in the essence of how we know how to create, that's what came to life.
I
know what I'm saying?
tend to think, man, that a lot of those folks that were
Big up Dave West too.
Salute
One of
Dave.
the big producers who actually been rocking with us since artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I think that was a dope move, because I think sometimes, like, when you do the samples and shit, a lot of these artists, some of them, like the old school ones, they didn't really appreciate the fact that, the sample that you used on, their sample that you used on your song eventually sells them back catalog. You know what I mean? And if they own their publishing and they get royalty statements still, and most of them do.
Well, that's if the label clears it like they're supposed to.
Right. If the label clears it like
they're supposed to.
But look, either way, even if the label didn't clear it, right, they still sell a shitload of back catalog, because a lot of people at that time, some of them were music enthusiasts, right? So like, oh fuck, I want to know where that sample came from. So then they go find the song that the sample originates from.
That's real shit.
And then they fucking buy that song.
Because George admitted that.
Yeah.
George Clinton, he admitted that.
James Brown, George Clinton benefited from that, and they were cool about it. And they were the two guys that could have not been cool about it. They could have said, what? Fuck all y'all.
I can retire off hip hop right here, not do nothing anymore.
And I'll tell you, before James Brown passed away, he was cool with what was going down with how hip hop sort of built the house on a lot of his shit in terms of samples, right? That would be a crazy stat. Like, what artist has been sampled the most? And what genre, because, hip hop is made from all sorts of different genres, right? Via the sampling.
Actually, how about who was actually cool about that shit?
Let's see the fucking stats of who was cool with that shit.
Who was cool with that shit?
Because we know who wasn't.
Guess who was cool?
Who was cool?
Daryl Hall.
Daryl Hall.
Daryl Hall was cool.
Well, see, he's like he's like open, like a artist.
He was super cool. Yeah.
That's dope, man. He would probably fuck with y'all, like, doing a collab. He still gets down.
He gets down. They got a tour coming up too. Oh, they do. I'm trying to go check them out.
Do a mashup fucking play.
I can't go for that. Let's say no go. That'd be crazy.
Come on, man. I got ideas for days, son. Oh, but that would be an interesting show. That would be an interesting show. Like,
how do you dope mashup? How can I just kill a man and let me in? Let me in from De La Soul is Dead.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Niggas is like, I don't know about that one, Mace.
Let me ask you this, Mace. Let me ask you this, because you came, like myself, you came in before my time. You came in that era where they would have the seminars, like the Jack the Rappers and the New York Music Seminar,
yeah,
and all that shit. And that, like, those were seminars, in case y'all never heard of it, those were seminars that major labels and even some considered independent labels would send their artists there for exposure to,
overall to the industry, and everybody's pretty much like it was the testing ground for what you had coming out for the year and the following year to come.
Yeah, everyone had to do showcases.
Yeah.
Because you had people that were promoters, agents, fucking shop owners, managers,
all label reps.
Yeah. And these were the folks that your prospective label were showing out. They were showing their product out to all the others, and they were just sort of getting the temperature on what everybody else had.
It's similar to what Puff does with Revolt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, I think he's the only one at the Revolt Summit. He's the only one now I could say probably is carrying the spirit of what we came up on with the New York Seminar.
I got to tell you, those were great times, because that allowed us all to network together and like, sort of like
rappers was actually in the crowd. There was no VIP, none of that kind of shit going on. It was like it was more so either you was by the bar or you was just in the crowd.
Everybody supported each other back then. It was crazy. That was a crazy time, and this would happen in New York for the New York Music Seminar. This would happen.
Ever see that no more?
Jack the Rapper in Atlanta. Well, because here's the thing: those things got busted out when all the thuggery started happening in hip hop, when the gangster shit infiltrated fully.
The thuggery and bullshit gossip.
Yeah.
Sucker shit.
Yeah, because when
people hearing shit in the air and what's in the air ain't really real.
Because artists' crews would get into beefs and they'd fucking get into fights and fuck the whole place up. And then, a fight turns into a shooting, you know what I'm saying? And that was it. Especially in that era, because that was a pretty fucking, as hip hop started evolving and gangster shit started getting in there, man, it got pretty crazy. And I would imagine the liability that those particular institutions in hip hop would have faced, had they kept it going. Because there was that shit with Suge and Uncle Luke's crew.
That should have happened in Atlanta.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of like, the beginning of the end of those particular things. But what I meant to say about him is that you got to see the talent pool, and you knew what class you were going in, and how it was going to roll out, and it was such a dope fucking time.
It was. It's like, this is the next school.
now it's like you don't know.
Nah.
It's like a fucking grab bag.
Internet.
Yeah.
Necessary evil.
Yeah.
I think if it wasn't for the internet, a lot of cats wouldn't even be in the game. But then again, the internet also put the limitations on the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword, man. You lose something to gain something.
I'll say this, I think the internet became the flood. There's also been some dope talent that no one else would have got to have seen had it not existed.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, it's a necessary evil. It's a flip side, But the thing is, you got to fucking put up with so much bullshit to get to the actual gems, right?
Right. Got to go through a bunch of, but it was the same as going through a bunch of bullshit demo tapes.
Yeah.
To get to the gems, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I looked at that in the same way, I just feel like it just came a little too easy for certain people based on the internet.
In the last 15 years, for sure.
I'll say 20.
20, yeah. Yeah.
I'll say 20. Because here it is, my second son is 26 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a Soulja Boy era. You know what I'm saying? And we got real comfortable with media. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing Soulja Boy in one form of fact. I actually admired his grind.
Yeah.
Can I say I'm into his music? No, I can't say that.
And you don't have to.
You know, I even say, even as a middle-aged man in hip-hop now, I say a lot of this shit I'm not supposed to be into.
Yeah. But you like it.
Some shit is cool.
Yeah.
And some shit is artistically flawed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It really is.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been trying to find these words for a long time because I don't want to sound like I'm beating up the youngins. You know.
Right.
You know. But due to their platform, you know, a mediocrity is sliding through.
Yes.
You know, we able to now coin a style in hip hop called mumble rap.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. We shouldn't have been able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and once again, that's us taking our culture, our genre, and finding something negative and making it positive. You know what I mean? Taking that negative and making it a positive. Now, whack is whack.
Yeah.
Mumble was, we mumbled to get the style, then to put some words to that shit. You know what I'm saying? How we got to hit records out of mumbles is because of the platform it's on.
Right.
And that's what I attribute it to. You know what I'm saying? Is able to get through overnight because of the platform. Had it been what we grew up on,
Oh, no.
fine.
Would not have
Everybody's
made
like, yo, you gotta go back to the studio and fix that
you
shit.
got to fix that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta fix that shit.
That's if they let you back in the studio to fix that.
You know?
Yeah.
And due to the platform, we don't got real producers, we got beat makers.
That's true. There is a lot of beat makers.
You know,
out there.
no real producers. Nobody's really getting together and developing a real song. They coming with ideas.
Right.
And they just letting the ideas slide by.
Yeah, man. A lot of layers got peeled out.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think there's a time, and it all depends on the producer to bringing that style back. It's just that, man, I think a lot of producers are just, you know, fearful of what happens when they sample because you got to give up so much publishing on that. But I think if you did it in the direction of that how y'all approached it, yeah, I think you could fucking do some really cool shit.
You know.
Because you don't necessarily have to sample these old school artists. You can get inspired by what they did and do something that's close, but have other motherfuckers play it.
I mean, you know, we always knew it was... One thing we couldn't allow people to say it wasn't artistic.
Yeah.
But we do know it's other people's music. So at the end of the day, I didn't really bank on making money off somebody else's stuff that I was using. You know what I mean? To create my own thing. And, you know, the way we always even looked at it is like, it's a collage. You know, when you make a collage, if you actually look at a collage that's made out of newspapers and magazines, is bodies of work from other bodies of work to make some new piece, you know?
Yeah.
But every time you look at it, you see something different.
Right.
Every time you look at it, every time you go back to it, there's something different.
Something different
that catches your eye. It's
yeah.
why it's called a collage, you know what I'm saying? So, to me, this is what our music has always been.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go back and you hear something different every time you catch something different, you know, lyrically, musically, how we sampled it, how maybe we even tuned it or toned it, you know, to change different frequencies of how it sounds from the original record, you know. One thing we was not allowing nobody to say that this hip hop shit is not art, you know what I'm saying? But but the money, we didn't, nobody, I don't think that our era period was concerned about the money like that.
It was more about the art.
It was always about the art, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, and not to say we didn't want to make money. It was like, for me, I'll say for me, feeling convicted about making money off somebody else's shit that I'm using.
Right.
Now, if there's a business structure there for me to make money, then let's do it. If it's called clearing samples, then let's do it. You know, and breaking them off, and we figuring out the piece of the split because we use their shit, then let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. But other than that, that was never even a thought in my mind when I was new in the game. Like, you know, that I'm gonna make money off of the publishing works of somebody else's work.
Yeah, that was like after you didn't.
Yeah, it was an afterthought until you begin to learn what's going on.
Well, that's the shit you should focus on. That was the shit. There was an afterthought, but in reality, you know, that's the shit you actually focus on because you want.
Well, every time there was a renegotiation, that was something they was focusing on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's common sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of artists don't pay attention to that shit in the first couple of years. It's, you know, if you should have longevity, that's when you start paying attention, you know, because if you're in and out, you're in and out.
Right.
That's it. Real spit. Anyway, man, I want to thank you for taking the time,
brother,
you know, to jump in the box.
My man.
You know
Come on, man. I love you, brother.
Likewise,
for
my
real,
brother.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
All day. Seriously.
Let them know where they can find you at.
Hey, DJ Maseo on Instagram. Maseo and Friends on Twitter. We Are De La Soul for the last 30 plus years. I mean, actually, what? We've been friends since...
27
actually,
of those.
Well, 30 years professionally, but these are my childhood friends. We've been together since high school, man. I met them in 84, and we've been rocking since then. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So,
you guys gonna be touring this year or
the
upcoming year?
More than likely.
Nice.
I mean,
when do
we not tour? Honestly,
I've never known y'all not to tour. This is what we have in common, right?
Yeah. Hey. Touring, making great music, enjoying life.
Hell yeah,
you know, and really, I'm glad we met through this culture called hip hop, brother.
Bridges,
real.
Man. Hip hop creates bridges all day. And tell the boys I said what's up.
I will.
And I'm sure we're gonna cross paths.
Hey, everybody! Also, look out for the De La Doobie. Okay?
Oh yes.
You know what I'm saying? Backed by my homie.
Pre-rolls.
Because I ain't going nowhere else but to my homie with this.
Pre-rolls.
Pre-rolls. De La Doobie's coming to you soon.
That's what's up.
Salute.
Leave comments. Subscribe to the channel. Fuck with my man DJ Maseo. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
And, you know, keep smoking.
Got the heart of a lion, soul of a titan, mind of a genius. We fly with the heighten. All your senses is senseless, resistant, relentless. It's what they call you when your grind is endless. Let's get this.
They say I'm psycho.